2-2.
Liking this music. 337 Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the drive home with Jillian and John. Jillian Barbary, John Phillips, Rob Marinko, though. And for Johnny.
Feeling the love.
And I'm feeling the love from all of the listeners. I'm apparently very popular.
Feeling the love. Well, the second lady agreed with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's
There you go.
I got one out there.
There you go.
All right. So this happened. California lawmakers have voted to reduce the penalty for intentionally exposing someone to HIV. It was a felony, rightly so.
Yes, of course.
Well, California lawmakers being light on crime.
Hey.
Being light on crime. They've made it into a misdemeanor. Okay, well, to talk more about it, why don't you give me dirty looks?
No, I'm shaking my head. Like,
okay.
Why would they do this?
I know.
This makes zero sense in the sense that it's already a law that's put in place.
Yes.
And to go and screw with it, like, it makes zero sense.
Lou Shapiro is on with us. He's a criminal defense attorney. Lou, I actually don't know your take on this, Lou, so welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Lou.
You got it. I hope I say something that makes everybody happy on both sides.
All right, that's not likely, Lou, but go ahead. So
well,
what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, well, the argument goes both ways, right? On one side, you have the argument saying that this is all discriminatory, right? That HIV and AIDS, we're 20, 25 years later, treatments have improved, the infection rate has gone down, and it's basically stigmatizing people that have it by treating this law as a felony. It's the argument that it's just not a big deal anymore. Get over it.
What a funny argument.
Is it a life sentence still? I mean, I know that certain HIV is not, but AIDS is still a life sentence. Is it?
It's a serious illness.
It sure is. I mean, but people are living with cocktails, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line is you do this to somebody and they're unbeknownst to them. That, to me, is a little bigger than a misdemeanor.
I want it to be a felony if you give somebody a cold on an airplane.
Oh, Jesus, you are like Phillips. All right, but you understand.
Yeah, so you sound a little bit more like Jeff Sessions then, whose viewpoint is that, look at the cost of care. It's about $2,000 a month to treat this disease. So to call it anything short of a big deal or an expensive deal, he says is inappropriate.
I agree with the Attorney General. I agree.
Yeah. So those are the two big sides playing. And, of course, this is out of San Francisco, this bill.
Yes, figures.
To your surprise.
Yes, to my surprise. So is this law now, or does it have to go to Jerry Brown's desk?
So it still has to pass the next round of votes. But in light of the fact that it passed like 42 to 16, it's definitely got some serious traction.
Right, it's got to go before the state senate first, and then it'll head to Brown's desk. But
Governor Brown has surprised people, and
he has.
I was talking to Deborah Tate about this today because it's essentially Governor Brown's the reason that the Manson killers are still alive is because Brown and his underlings overturned the death penalty in 1971. So partially the reason that they're all alive and still up for parole is because of him. Now, when we did take all the petitions to him, he did turn over the parole board's assessment of her last year. They said, yes, she should get out. Jerry Brown said, no. We're going back up again in a couple months. Everyone, he is a Democrat, but then he does sometimes fall hard and says, no, I'm sorry, you killed those people and you should stay behind bars. So you never know how, I know his track record, but there are certain things he's been a little more strict on, and this may be one of them. I don't know.
Well, we're going to find out. But Lou, I'm curious, as a defense attorney, let's say your client has broke this law, and I guess I'm not even concerned with whether it is or isn't a felony or misdemeanor in this theoretical case. But how do you defend somebody that knowingly gave somebody a disease like HIV?
Well, how do defense attorneys defend murderers who kill children? It's their job.
But I'm curious about some of the defenses. Here you've got your client has given somebody intentionally the disease or exposed them to it, because it's irrelevant whether they get it or not. Correct?
Right. No, they actually have to.
Is it relevant? Okay.
Yeah, they have to contract it. But the defense is simply that, I took all the precautionary measures in terms of protection and so forth, so that
you're talking about a condom or safe sex otherwise. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Meaning I did everything I can that was prudent and reasonable, and somehow this happened, and I did not intend for it to happen.
Because the intent is real important in this law. It actually it uses the word intentionally exposing someone.
Right. Now we have general intent crimes and specific intent crimes. And regardless of whether it's even considered a general intent crime, you really have to have a jury that's sympathetic, that really believes you, that you had no intent whatsoever. You really gave it all you got in terms of, protecting the other person. And then it goes where it goes with the jury.
Mm. Well, if you know you have HIV and you have sex with someone and you don't tell them, that intent is that's intent. Like, you intend to screw up their life, because regardless of how they're living, they're going to have to do cocktails forever. I mean,
what Lou just said, though, is that let's say you have somebody like that uses a condom and does everything as safely as possible, then I guess you could question intent, because the argument is that I didn't tell them because I was sure they weren't going to catch it.
If you're wearing a condom, can you still pass HIV? Sorry for my ignorance, but
well, no, but it's not condoms aren't 100%. So I guess the answer is yes, theoretically, right?
Yes. No, the answer is yes, and then you could say a condom could maybe break,
right?
Or so there's no. So basically, the lesson is from all this to everybody is everyone has to be very vigilant out there. This does happen. I've had cases, not necessarily HIV, but other STDs. People are not necessarily forthcoming about it, and you've got to be all the more careful in society these days.
I'm not so sure, Lou. Maybe you can tell me if this was something that is attractive or not attractive to say to the gay community, because we're hearing about this legislation coming from San Francisco. So you have to ask the question: is this something that the gay community is mostly for or mostly against, turning it from a felony to misdemeanor? Do you know?
They're mostly for it.
Okay.
Because again, it goes to the whole discriminatory effect of this. That statistically, HIV and AIDS, seems to be a little bit more prevalent in that community. So therefore, they're going to take the side that, hey, you're making too much of a deal out of this.
I was wondering if that was still the case, if it was still more prevalent, because we all know at the beginning they thought it was a gay disease, and they found out heteros are getting it too
in Africa, but here in the U.S. it was always a tiny little minority
of
heterosexuals getting it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lou Shapiro, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope I made everybody happy.
Yes, you did.
Wow, and then I'll tell you what,
you pissed off somebody.
Hell of a job, because it's not easy to make both of us happy.
Oh, exactly.
Right, Rob?
Exactly, but I'm happy. I'm glad you are too.
Sure.
All right. 3:45, you're listening to the